And we are come to attend our global public training of October. Okay. So first, I will introduce our training concept. So for our training, it will spend 3 hours from the 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. And for the first topic is NBR Technology and Configuration. So our lecture is acute. And the second topic is the region hotel awareness solution and IPTV service. So we will do some demo and some operation on our Rijie products. And lecture is Baker. Okay. And then we will introduce our lectures of this public training. So for the first lecture and his certification, we can see he has the Season A and the GNCS and the ISE RE and IS Enterprise. So if you have any questions about our Enterprise and RE products, you can send the problems or your questions to our chat box so that our lecturer will answer to you during our training. Okay. And the acute is responsibility is post-sales network engineer for these countries. Okay. And then next lecture is the Becker. So for Becker, he has a certification like the Season A, Season P, ISE RE, and ISE Enterprise. And his responsibility is solution architecture and instructor. Okay. So now let's begin for our training. And for the first lecture, are you ready? Hey, Akut?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi everyone. Yes, I'm ready.
Yeah, you're ready. Okay. So you can do a simple introduction by yourself, and then you can begin to your speech. Okay.
Okay. Hello everyone. Welcome to our training today. I'm Aykut Ülger. I'm from Turkey. I've been working in Ruji for 2.5 years. So I'm working as a post-sales engineer, and I'm responsible from Turkey, Israel, Cyprus, and Azerbaijan. I've been in business for almost 8 years. So welcome again. Today, our topic is NBR Technology and Configuration. So mostly I'll show the eWeb configuration and CLI configuration. Before we start, let me introduce the NBR device first. So I want to go back to other slide. This is also visible, right? Can you see this slide too? So NBR is a cloud managed security router, and it supports. We have 4 models, and it supports 5 megabit per second bandwidth to up to 2.5 gigabit per second, and user is 200 users to up to 2,000 users, and it supports 10 gigabit SFP port. Not every model supports 10 gigabit SFP port. We will check the comparison later on this slide. This model supports 10 gigabit SFP port and up to 1,000 IPsec tunnels. And all devices are free cloud management, supports free cloud management. We have all console ports and physical ports, and all devices is one unit. And this is the router and supports VPN server client configuration and intelligent traffic control. Also, it supports user behavior audit and management. And also it supports visualized traffic monitoring. Wireless controller remote, so please ignore this one. And also it supports load balancing and APP caching. Let me hide this, sorry. And our NBR supports deep inspection. What's deep inspection? DPI, CFI, and DFI. DPI is layer 7 deep packet inspection, and CFI is control flow inspection, and DFI deep flow inspection. It supports also visualized VPN. So when you create IPsec VPN or L2TP VPN, you can see the client. So our NBR visualize the IPsec or L2TP VPN, so you can see and control your VPN client server or site-to-site IPsec VPN. And it supports visualized traffic monitoring, so you can check application-based or user-based traffic. Also, you can block specific application or user on the visualized traffic monitoring tab. NBR also supports internet audit compliance, so you can integrate with other servers to send audit logs to outside. So it supports not log, audit log, and you need to it can integrate the audit server, so you can export not log, authentication log, or behavior audit logs to the outside with encryption. And another feature, this is also important, NBR is a router, but it also acts like firewall. By default, firewall features is disabled, so you need to enable it if you want to use control the traffic. So built-in such firewall and security domain. Stream filter access control list implements flexible packet filtering of various granularity, including standard ACS and extended ACS. And status monitoring, network traffic is identified based on 6 tuples, and the status information from layer 2 to layer 7 is established to each network. Based on the status information, various security controls and deeper packet filtering are implemented, including header check, IP fragment support, and special application protocol support. And attack defense, stateful detection can defend against IP malformed packet attacks, IP impersonation, TCP hijacking, ping flood, simmer, ping that, teardrop, LAN, ping flood, and UDP flood. Also, security domain, the firewall, the firewall can divide different network segments into independent security zones. By default, as I said before, NBR security feature is disabled. So if you want to use the NBR as a firewall, you need to enable security features. When you enable it, all the interfaces is in default zone. So the firewall can divide different network segments into independent security zones according to security requirements of the enterprise and load independent access control policies. So you can create your security zones, and you can apply some services, and you can control the transient traffic that's passing through on NBR gateway. NBR also supports screen mirroring this is very common for hotel solutions. So if the wireless user may want to mirror the traffic to the IPTV. So NBR supports screen mirroring configuration. This is suitable for hotel solutions. Rigid cloud management. So NBR also supports easy setups that some feature real topology, VLAN network planning, one-click loop prevention, and behavior management. As you know, self-organized network is the future that you don't need to configure devices one by one. You just connect all devices and you can finish the initial configuration in minutes. So NBR also supports self-organized network, but cannot be mastered. So it can be, it only be slave in the self-organized network. So if you have devices, real devices that in your network, in your topology, you can configure using self-organized network in 2 or 3 minutes. And it supports delivery report and remote maintenance, as you know, cloud management support remote maintenance and wireless intelligent optimization, alarm, VLAN visualization, and intranet access. Let's check the comparison between NBR series devices. All, just a moment, sorry. We have 4 models, and the first one is sorry. First one is NBR 6120 series, and the second one NBR 6205, and NBR 6210, NBR 6215 series. All devices 1 unit rack mount, and let's check the network interfaces. NBR 6120 has 5 gigabit port and 1 USB, and NBR 6105 has 8 gigabit ports and 2 SFP ports. And NBR 6110 has 8 gigabit ports and 2 SFP ports. NBR 6215 has 8 gigabit ports, 1 SFP port, and 1 10 gigabit SFP ports, total 2 SFP ports. And let's check the throughput and user and performance. Let's check here performance. NBR 6120 supports 5 megabit per second throughput, and NBR 6215 supports 2.5 gigabit per second. And user, let's take the user. The first model, NBR 6120, supports 200 users, and the second model supports 500 users, and NBR 62 and supports 1,000 users, and NBR 6215 supports 2,000 users. And let's check the feature. All models supports multiple one access, behavior management, behavior audit, and application management, smart flow control, flow monitoring, and ultra fast configuration. AC mode, as I said before, AC mode is removed, so please ignore this one. Also firewall, only NBR 6120 doesn't support firewall. The others support firewall. And so let's check the let's go to the next slide. And this is all about NBR. So I want to show the configuration right now. Let me stop share here. So we finished the NBR introduction, and the second one is device management. How we manage the devices. First one, CLI based management, and the second one is web access, web-based management. Before we start, let me explain something about the NBR devices. All NBR models have console port. So you can use console port to use device management. And also, all devices has the management interface. The LAN 0 is the management interface, and the default IP address is 192.168.1.1. So you can connect your PC and configure your Ethernet IP address using this segment, for example, 1.10. Then you can access the devices via telnet or via console or via telnet or eWeb. Okay, let's go back to the I want to log in the devices. Can you see the browser right now? Hello, can you see the browser?
No, just represent the PPT. Okay.
Just PPT. Okay. Okay. I think now it's visible, right? One that 192.168.1 is the default management IP address. So let's connect the devices. The default username is admin and default password is also admin. But I changed the password before. And this is device event. So on the dashboard, we can see the interfaces and the device model. When we click on details, we'll see the device serial number and also firmware version. NBR uses RGOS operation system. This is device web page. Let's access this device CLI. When you connect a device CLI, I recommend that to check the services first with show services. Now, SSH and Telnet server is enabled. If it's not enabled, you need to enable the SSH and Telnet server if you will use SSH and Telnet to access the devices. How we enable SSH and Telnet? We need to enter the configuration mode to configure terminal, enable service SSH service. But it's enabled, so it doesn't take effect. Enable service Telnet service. You cannot see the CLI? Okay, sorry. Just a moment. Is it visible now? Okay. The default management IP address of the device is 192.168.1.1. So I use PuTTY, or you can use other applications, other software to connect the devices. And I use the PuTTY right now. After you log in the devices, and default user is admin and default password is also admin. But I changed it before. And after you log in, I recommend to check the services. It shows service command. And if it's disabled, for example, if a Telnet server or SSH server is disabled, you need to enable it to connect the devices via Telnet or SSH. How we enable SSH and Telnet? Enter the configuration mode by entering configure terminal. After that, enable service SSH server. Enable service Telnet server. For device management, also it's important to configure Telnet and enable password. How we configure the enable password? enable password. Would you want to? The enable password you chosen is the same because this is my enable password right now, so it doesn't take effect. How we can configure the telnet? Line VTU 04 and password UG123 exclamation. Now we configure the enable password and telnet. Let's go back to the slide and for device management and we check that I show the CLI and web access. So self-organized network, as I said before, it supports self-organized network. How we can use the self-organized network integration? I want to go back to the device web interface. And on the left side, there is a master tab. When you click on master tab, it redirects to the self-organized network master. Before, I want to show you the topology. So NBR connected to internet. And there is a one port configured PPOE. There is a PPOE configuration. There is an MBS switch connected to the NBR gateway, and there is one AP, RAP 2060 series. And right now, RAP is the master in self-organized network. This configuration is finished before. So if it's the new devices, if there is no configuration, after you connect all devices, you can use RAP SID management SID to finish the self-organized network, or you can access the device NBR web interface to start the configuration. It will look like, let me show you. There is a config wizard here. When you connect the NBR web interface, if there is no configuration, it will show you like this. And also there will another window that will ask to project name and management password for all devices. So you need to configure PPOE, or if there is a DHCP, you need to configure it. You need to select the DHCP for one interfaces. Also for LAN interfaces, you need to select the LAN port and configure the IP address. Okay, let me back to the device web interface. Let's check this slide again. And for self-organized network integration, okay, let's continue device general configuration. And first one is interface configuration. And the second one is VLAN tagging, and the third one is DHCP. Let's check the interface first. Let's go back to the interface. Here we can see the if we want to monitor or configure interfaces, we need to click on network tab and click on the interfaces. We'll see the all interfaces here. And LAN 0 is the management interface, and it cannot be converted. You cannot be converted to one or LAN interface. One interface. This is the default managed IP address of the devices. And NBR also supports multi-PPOE configuration. If you enable it, you can put different PPOE client for single LAN port. Also, it supports aggregate port. You need, if you want to create aggregate port, you need to select you need to click on aggregate port and select aggregate 1, 2, or then We need to assign the physical interfaces into aggregate port. Access mode is NBR working as a gateway mode right now. So you can change to the bridge mode to pass to allow only layer 2 traffic passing through the device. Interface conversion, all interface except LAN 0 can be changeable. Layer 2 LAN and 1 port. Now we are using 1.0. This is the gigabit 0.7 interface. Link detection, NBR supports link detection. For example, we are using a gigabit 0.7 interface for the uplink, and we can put the next of IP address and next of IP address if there is a failure to detect the and for the let's check the sub interfaces. I want to show you the topology again. Can you see the topology on the screenshot? Okay, let's click on here. Right now we have only one physical interface for downstream traffic. It's the gigabit 0.2, sorry. So if you have only one physical connection for downstream traffic, and if you need to pass different VLANs, so you need to configure the VLAN tagging on NBR devices. Let's go back to the interface. And LAN 2 is the local interface that connect to the MBS switches. This is the IP address for VLAN 1. And so how we can configure the VLAN tagging for different VLANs? Sub-interface configuration. So if you want to create a sub-interface for different VLANs, you need to click on sub-interfaces. We can create another sub-interface. For example, 90, VLAN ID is 90.
We can't see your writing.
Can you see the EWAP?
Just the picture.
Just a moment. I share the full screen. Okay, can you see the device EWAP right now?
Yeah.
Okay. You can see the topology here, right? Okay, we have only one physical interface right now that connects the MBS switches. And if you want to pass the different VLANs, we need to configure the sub interfaces and VLAN tagging. This is LAN 2 interface, and this is the IP address for VLAN 1. If you want to create another VLAN, we need to click on sub interfaces here. This is the sub interfaces under gigabit 0.2. Let's create another one. For example, VLAN 90, VLAN ID is 90, IP address is 192.168.90.1. Now we configured another sub interfaces. Let's check on CLI. Show interface, show IP, interface free. Can you see the CLI right now?
Yes, we can see.
Okay. Okay. Now we just created these sub interfaces, so we can see the configuration here. And how we can configure the DSCP? The DSCP also under network, and this is our DSCP pool. We can create another one. If you create sub-interfaces, the DSP will automatically create it, as you can see here. We just created VLAN 90 and assigned to the 192.168.90.1 for the gateway, and it's created the DHCP server automatically. We can create another one. We can create another pool here. Let's create, for example, this is the subnet, and this one is the gateway. Lease time, we can specify the lease time. Here we create another DHCP pool. We can let's check the configuration. Okay. So run begin DHCP. Now this is our DHCP pool configuration. We just created this one. IP DHCP pool Wi-Fi 50 and lease time infinite, and this is the network and DNS server we also configured, and this is the default router. How can we check the interface status? Show interface status, and here we can see the status of the interfaces, and also show IP interface brief. We can see the all interface IP addresses. This is the DLR1, by the way. This is the 10. Sorry, this is one. Let me confirm it. 111 interface. This one, and this is our public IP address, and these are the local interfaces. Okay, DHCP configuration. Let's go back to the slide. We finished interface, VLAN tagging, and DHCP configuration. And let's check the special features configuration. First one is user management. There is a user tab on NBR eWeb. And the structure starts root as root. Root is the default structure. If you want to create another user or user group, you need to click on here, add user IP range or add group. Let's create another group, and we can add a user for this group. You can specify IP address, MAC address, IP MAC, or no IP addresses to allow you can also allow internal web authentication and allow VPN access. Let's select IP address and select this range. Okay. This IP range is already in use. So we create user group. The name is Bridget Training and assigned to IP range. This IP range.
ماشي، انت بعت لي كده كده وانا ممكن أعرف.
Okay, let's go back to the slides. user management, authentication. Let's take the authentication configuration. So NBR supports web authentication and local authentication. Also, it can be integrated with external portals. So by default, local authentication is disabled. And I enable for VLAN 45. And let me create another. We can create another one. Voucher authentication. We can select the policy type as work account or voucher authentication. For web authentication, we can by default it's disabled. We can configure iPortal. iPortal is it's the internal portal. NBR has an important portal. If you create a user and assign to the internal portal, when connect to SID or physical or connect to the switch via physical port, there is a portal page pop-up for users, and after user put the credential, it will authenticate if there is a user already created under user tab. Okay. For authentication, let's take the behavior policy. Before behavior policy, I want to show you the authentication. Let me connect to the Wi-Fi. Let me connect to the Wi-Fi 45 on my phone. Now I connect the Wi-Fi 45, and as you can see, I want to show you on the camera. If you can see, there is a portal page pop-up, and if I put the username and password correctly, I'll be authenticated. Okay, let's go back to the slide. Okay, we finished user management and authentication. Let's check the behavior policy, how we can configure the behavior policy. There is a behavior tab on the left. By default, behavior policy is disabled. We can enable for example, if you want to block an application, you need to select app blacklist or user blacklist. For example, I already created before for WhatsApp. Let's create another one. There's lots of application in the library, TeamViewer or okay, let's select TeamViewer. This is the global policy for behavior. This is the global behavior policy, by the way. We can customize it by clicking on advanced settings. There is a customized policy. Let's create another one. This is the policy name, and next we need to select the application. We can select the website too. Click to set application. I select the TeamViewer, and okay, we can specify the active time, daytime, nighttime, working time, or we can customize the policy active time. I click on OK and click on next. I can select user, for example, widget training. Now I block TeamViewer for the rigid training group. But when I block, when at the blacklist here, when I add a blacklist application, all users will be in blacklist. So this is the global policy, behavior policy. Just a moment. Okay, let's go back to the slide. A security policy. NBR can be a firewall. By default, security policies are disabled. If we enable it, all interfaces will be in the default zone. There is a firewall tab on the left, so we need to click on firewall tab to enable security zone. Here's security zone config, and by default it's disabled. Let's enable security zone. And here, all interfaces, including sub-interfaces, are under default zone. So when we enable the security zone, these interfaces, there is a this interface, there is no limitation, there is no traffic control between these local interfaces. But we can allow interzone communication, or we can disable interzone communication after enabling security zone configuration. And we can add another zone, for example, and we can control the traffic. We can control the transit traffic or services. There is already created. Okay, LAN security zone is created, and gigabit 02 was assigned into that security zone. So we can create another one, for example, one interface. And we can select the DLF2. Right now, this is our one interface. Now, there is no control between security zones. I can customize, or I can create security policy. For example, source security zone is the LAN interface, and destination is one. And I can control the traffic. I can allow some source IP or destination IP or services. But I don't want to configure it right now, because we may be a internet problem. So by default, also attack defense config is disabled, by you need to enable it if you want to configure it. Let's check the port mapping and NAT configuration. NAT and port mapping configuration is under network tab. If you want to configure port mapping, you need to create a new one. Port mapping or DMZ mapping type. There is two mapping types. One is port mapping, and the other is DMZ host. Internal IP, for example. External IP. We can select the one interface to allow all traffic coming from outside to access the internal IP. For example, if there is a, let's assume that there is a web server working for this IP, so we may allow the all traffic that's coming to this IP from outside, create port mapping. Also, NAT configuration is also under network. They use the same type, NAT and port mapping. Let's check the, let's create another NAT rule. We need to create access control list first to which IP will be not, which IP will be translated. The access control type is permit. Let's select a single IP, let's say 192.168.50.100. All time period is all time, and we create the access list for to create a NAT configuration. I think we didn't create the, let's check the, okay, the number 2 is our access list we just created. And not, we couldn't see the access list 2 here. Let me try to refresh. Now, already it's, the access list ID is 1, and these are the rules under the access list ID. Okay, we already created it and assigned it to NAT rule. For IPsec VPN or L2TP VPN, how can we configure? Here under network, when you click on it, we'll see the VPN visualization here. And for example, we created IPsec VPN configuration before, and we assigned user. Let's check how we can configure the IPsec VPN on NBR. First, we need to select the VPN type. Let's select IPsec VPN and IP address. This is the IP address for the next hop IP address. This one is other. For example, if you have another branch, you need to put your branch IP address here and press it. And also, you need to select the one interface. Which interface will be used to create IPsec VPN? And also, it automatically pulls the local network. So you need to configure the other side, the local network here. Let's remove this one. For advanced settings, you can specify the phase 1 and phase 2 configuration, IP policy configuration, and the phase 2 configuration. After you finish the configuration, you need to use the same pre-shade key and same authentication methods on the other side. let's assume that this device, this NBR located on the HQ, you need to configure the same pressure key and same authentication methods on the branch side. Okay, now we created another IPsec VPN here. Also, we can create the users for L2TP VPN. For example, ABC, this one is created before. We can create another user for L2TP configuration. This user is taken because we created it before. When we create the user, it will show on the topology. And it's all of them are disconnected. There is no client right now, and there is no another branch router or other firewall that was configured to IPsec before. And let me check the slide. IPsec, I think we finished all configuration today. I couldn't see I couldn't show the all configuration because there are lots of features. We have limited time. Maybe next time we can create another training for NBR, another NBR training to demonstrate more features. Okay, this is all from my side. Hope it will help and hope you enjoy. If you have any questions, I can gladly answer.
And two questions have sent to the chat box. You can check.
Okay, let me check. Okay, ISP gave static IP with VLAN tagging. Okay, so how we can configure let's check. For example, this is our one port. We need to click on advanced settings. Which one is down? Okay, this one is down. Let's select the static IP. Okay, you need to create sub-interfaces. Before we created sub-interfaces under LAN interfaces. For one interfaces, also you need to create sub-interfaces if your ISP give a VLAN tag. If your ISP gave your VLAN 100, so you need to configure the VLAN 100 under your one port and assign and put your IP address that ISP gave to you before. This is how you configure the static IP with VLAN tagging. And let's check the second one. Let's check. Okay, super VLAN. Okay, I'll explain it. Let me check the another question. With the user policy, is that possible to rate limit to usage? Yes, we can use. We can create. We can enable flow control. By default, it's disabled, and we can enable the flow control and assign the bandwidth After that, we can control the user or user group for download or upload traffic. Okay, let me check the other. Okay, what is the difference between super VLAN with other VLAN? Difference is, let me explain on the slide. VLAN divides the broadcast domain. So if you have one VLAN, there is only one broadcast domain. With super VLAN, you can divide broadcast domains in the same network. So for example, you have one network, let's assume that it's 192.168.5.0/24. This is our network. If you enable super VLAN, you can divide the broadcast in the same network. Maybe you can create two different IP range to block the traffic between these IP ranges in the same network. So you can, if you need this requirement, you need to enable the super VLAN on NBR. Okay, any other questions? How we control the internet usage of line users? Okay. Actually, let me show you. If you can create the flow control, or you can control on. Let me show you on the web. On dashboard, we can use the real-time application and user traffic. When we click on details, we will see the, sorry. Now we can see the users under traffic monitoring, and we can click on details, and we can block the users. Or if you want to specify specific bandwidth for uplink and downlink, you need to configure flow control policy. Let me enable flow control. After we enable flow control, there is change policy. There is another tab will appear, so you can create the policy for users and assign the bandwidth for local users or external users. So if you want to, we already created some users and user groups before. We need to select, for example, rigid training group. We can select this group as 1, 2, 3, and assign to bandwidth for that users. And also time management is, we can also assign the time management for that specific user groups. If there is no question, I stop sharing.